Welcome to NFL Daily, where we don't believe in chronological age.
We do not.
I'm Gregg Rosenthal. I'm here in the Chris Wesseling podcast studio with my friend Colleen Wolfe for a very special episode of NFL Daily. It's the Death Show.
The Death Show, everyone. You knew it was coming. It was going to come up at some point in the show. Whenever Gregg and I are together, that's what happens. So we figured, why don't we do an entire episode on death?
Yeah, and when we were talking about it, and we've got the great Quab producing the show, it's going to be on NFL Channel. There's some discomfort, I think, about some of the, graphics that are going to be. Can we really say the Death Show across? And this, I was like, that's what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. It's the one thing we know we all have in common. It's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And if you're lucky enough, in a way, it's going to happen to people around you. Because if it doesn't, that means it already happened to you.
That is a really good point. That's true. Oh my God, we're really going for it right off the top.
But how could we make that an NFL show?
All right, we're going to make it fun. Death but fun.
Yeah.
Or death but just NFL.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, I was like, do we do teams on life support? There's a lot of different ways we could go with it, Gregg.
That is what we're going to figure out. And that's what helps me feel alive, is having a show where you don't really know what's going to happen. What do they say on your Monday night show?
Let's just see what happens.
Let's just see what happens.
That's the official motto of the Game Day Kickoff Monday edition with myself and Steve Mariucci, and Jeff Blasucci produces. He's the one that started it. We have a little piece of paper, sort of like Play Like a Champion, and we hit it before every show that says, let's just see what happens.
Okay. And that's not too different. Back around the NFL days, really actually around the league days when we were really starting, we were just in the newsroom. It's like we'd be 15 minutes till we were going to start, and we was like, oh, what should we do today? That was pretty normal.
Wow.
And good stuff happened. So we will go through a lot of different trends that are happening, players, teams that we decide whether they're alive or dead. Maybe we'll, along the way, have meaningful discussions.
Okay. I like that. Maybe. We'll see.
Afterlife. And chronological age, you're not in.
No, I don't believe in it. Listen, age is a mindset, as time is a social construct, and if you have ever met my dad, Ed Wolfe, you would never believe how old he is because he acts like he's younger than me in the best way possible, young at heart.
Keep wearing those cargo pants, Colleen.
Hello, fellow kids. I am your age.
So I was going to have this opening sound to really introduce the segment. And this is like a dark version of it. But I just thought this is in the news this week. There was actually a fight during the Jaguars game over this weekend. And Liam Cohen, said one of his players was accused of telling one of the players on the Titans teams that he was going to kill him. And Liam Cohen was asked about that.
One of the Titans players, I guess, after the game said Logan Cook threatened to kill him in one of those altercations there, and that's kind of blown up a little bit. I was just wondering, your thought about whether that might have been across the line or anything, or if that's something, that just happens during games.
I've probably heard that said 100 times, from players in games, so whatever.
100 times. Okay. I feel like he needed to go one way or the other.
100's too specific.
100 is too small, I think, of a sample size for someone who has worked in the NFL for so long, but it's also a little too big of a sample size to say that it never really happened. So I'm not really sure I understand where he was going.
What strange workplace it is, though, that is considered normal. There was a lot of things. You got to find the humor in the dark places, Colleen.
That's what we do best.
Number one, the fact that the player who threatened to kill the other was the punter. That's it's just funny. If you could pick the funniest position to do it. Logan Cook's a punter, right? Great research by me. Yeah, of course he is. Great one.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's funny.
I mean, if it happens so often, then I don't know how it became such a big deal. But it does remind me of Will Campbell saying, "I will fight and die for you" after he was drafted. So, I mean, this is a big deal. This is a serious business.
I don't think it is, but it is a reminder what a weird workplace it is. Because you could don't Don't do that at your workplace. We could not say that even in a joking manner, I don't think, at a workplace. But in the NFL, the emotions are heightened. Anything goes. It's life or death while you're out there on the field.
Right. Like, is that handled by HR at all?
I think so. Because
does an HR rep come into the locker room and say, can you just come into my office real quick? Do you have a moment?
Apparently not, because it's happened hundreds of times. So I thought that would just be a nice little entree into what we're talking about today. And it can be teams, trends, whatever you want. That could be dead or alive, that make you feel alive, that are on life support, however you want to take this. Why don't you get us going?
Okay. Well, I think that this is a fairly obvious one, but the Seahawks Desert Edition is dead, and it's been dead for a while. The Raiders is what I'm referring to with Pete Carroll and Geno Smith and Tom Brady having, the whole organization sort of running that now too. And it just feels like having his infusion at the beginning of the season during training camp, like, oh, there is a sliver of hope here. Maybe this is going to turn into something. They even brought in Tyler Lockett after he left the Titans. Yes, this is an obvious one, but I'm going to bury a team in their division as well. Actually, two teams in the AFC. I'm just going to outright bury.
Okay.
That they're done. And it's unfortunate, but it feels that way. For the Chiefs, it just feels like this is not going to happen for them. And I know that seems unbelievably crazy to say because you never count out the Chiefs, but this year has not gone well for them. And sure, they could sneak in as a wild card and who knows what's going to happen, but if there's any year that they're not going to make the playoffs, it feels like this season, having watched them this year, and my poor Colts is the other team that I'm throwing in the plot because it's so hard to watch Daniel Jones play with one leg, and they still have 2 more games without DeForest Buckner. He has the neck injury on IR. They've lost 3 of their last 4. The only win that the Colts had was the overtime win against the Falcons in Europe. The next 5 on their schedule are all teams that are above 500. They have to play the Jags twice, the Texans, the Seahawks, the Niners. It's very upsetting to me. You know how much I love this team and how much I wanted to believe in this team and how much I wanted Carly Ursay-Gordon to be our queen. But it is not to be, I don't think.
You're burying them? Well, first of all, you're doing the social team's work for them. Colleen, Wolfe, Colleen. The Chiefs are buried. It's over.
I'm just saying.
Put them in the ground.
All right.
What would the eulogy sound like?
I think it's pretty obvious that the Chiefs are on life support.
Okay.
So how about I'll put the Chiefs on life support.
Now you're backing off the hot take.
No, the Colts are done though.
Okay.
The Colts.
Wow.
Colts are done, and we all gather here to mourn the 2025 Indianapolis Colts. This was supposed to be the year for the team to finally succeed. I even said, you know what, I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon. I don't want to ruin this for them. And then I slowly tiptoed back on, tried to maybe see if nobody saw me hop on board. Like a total sucker, I believed.
And now you're pushing them in front of like a moving car, like Meet Joe Black or something. They're bouncing around.
Listen, Daniel Jones, he was proving everyone wrong until his fibula tapped out. And, you had Jonathan Taylor just running with so much heart, breaking franchise records. Michael Pittman Jr., our hopes and dreams landed with every catch. Tyler Warren. This was a team that had so much promise and potential.
They're still 8-4. They're tied for first place.
Rest easy now, 2025 Colts. Rest from the struggle. Rest from the heartbreak. Rest knowing we loved you.
If that...
And achingly still do.
Oh, man. If that actually happens, if they miss the
I'll be
playoffs,
legitimately upset.
Well, now you're covered on both sides. There's no good outcome for you. There's no bad outcome for you. It's all bad, actually.
It's all bad.
They lose out. Not every game, but let's say they don't make the playoffs. They're 8-4. Let's say they finish 9-8 or something, or even 10-7 and miss the playoffs. I mean, they came into this year thinking it was like playoffs or bust for Steichen and Ballard. Then you'd be going to the offseason, depending on how Daniel Jones plays, without your 2 first-round picks over the next 2 years. And you're pot committed to Daniel Jones. I am not ready to dig dirt on them.
Okay.
You know, the Jaguars are on the schedule twice.
Mm-hmm.
That's who they're tied with atop the division. They're 60 minutes away on Sunday from feeling very much alive, from being in first place against a pretty flawed Jaguars team. And a fun team, a messy fun team we've been talking about.
What about the Texans? What about the Seahawks?
Texans are dangerous, certainly. The Seahawks are probably an L on the schedule, certainly. But in this division, if they could sweep the Jaguars, like, they're making the playoffs.
Let's say they split.
Even if they split, you know, you beat the 49ers, maybe you beat you get to 10 wins. I don't want to dig dirt on them.
Okay, all right.
The Raiders thing is interesting because it is obviously over. They're dead.
Yeah.
But you know what happens when
Oh no.
you know people die sometimes? The family left behind is squabbling over money, over
messy.
Who was at fault for different things. Chip Kelly's gone. His career as the offensive coordinator, that's finito.
Mm-hmm.
It was fascinating last week to watch 2 different reports. First one from our Tom Pelissero, I believe, on the Rich Eisen show, noting how there were times in the season where Chip Kelly wasn't even calling his own plays correctly. Like, he didn't know how to call his own plays.
Yeah. Plays that weren't in the playbook, weren't installed yet.
The second I heard that, I thought, okay, that is not a great strategy to me from whoever let that information get out there. And maybe it was natural. Maybe it was like from a player or whatever, and it's just like no one with an agenda.
Right.
Because that meant something was coming back at some point. And eventually we had our Ian Rappaport note how Chip Kelly wasn't even running his offense. If you look at his offense, he was running Pete Carroll's old offense from Seattle with Shane Waldron. If you look at, you know, the Raiders and the defense that they're running, you know, they're running Pete Carroll's old defense, and it's ugly.
Yeah, that's exactly like a family just checking out what's going on with the will, and then all of a sudden you hear whispers and things are just not working out. I don't know. That report, the whole thing seems very odd.
I love that stuff. Also, I am still afraid of the Chiefs. I think we have a Bills fan, you know, in Eric Roberts in the next room over. It's just like hearing people bury the Chiefs. It just seems like
it's a shock to the system.
It just seems like bad juju, and I'm not buying it until it's official. Right. Until I see that little E next to their name, like in the playoffs and stuff. AFC, it's wide open. I think they could. Like, I think they could make the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
Everyone's about even. Okay. Let's talk about your Eagles.
Do we have to?
Here's what's dead.
There's so many. How much time do we have?
Like the little baby chickens that could have been born, but instead they made them into like eggs that were thrown at Kevin Patullo's house. Or that's not really how eggs work.
Well, they could actually, Greg.
Yeah.
They could be throwing fertilized eggs at Patullo's house. Someone just told me the benefits of eating fertilized eggs, and I'm not sure I'm on board with it. But I eat chicken, so I don't really know how that works in general. However, it's the most Philadelphia thing I've ever heard that they egged Patullo's house.
It's sad.
It is.
That's too much.
I would be in witness protection. I would not want any Eagles fans knowing where I lived if I worked on the team, especially as the play caller right now.
Kevin Patullo has been blamed for everything. It's obviously not his fault, but they had this kind of extended break, a couple extra days basically, because they played on a Friday. And when Nick Sirianni came back and spoke to the media on Monday, he didn't say that they made any changes. But he did not say that they made any changes. And he basically said, look, if we were doing some things, I don't think it would be to my advantage to reveal those publicly. And Zach Berman, who's been on the show before, pointed out
I love Zach.
That you learn more from what Sirianni doesn't say over the years than by what he does. And for instance, when the whole Matt Patricia thing happened and they kind of kneecapped the coordinator at the time, Sean Desai, they never actually announced it for a while. You went into the game and you didn't even know. Eventually, people just figured it out, and then everyone knew that they had changed the play colors, and you had to answer for that. And so I think that might have happened here. And it is funny because it's like, you have power as an Eagles fan, or at least the Eagles fans in general. Like, they just want some sort of pound of flesh. And the Eagles are kind of like, well, I guess we got to give them something. Let's do something
This is
to put
on
to
me
up.
now?
I just mean the
what
fan
kind
base.
Of power do I have?
I just mean the fan base in general.
I mean, keep going. Tell me more about my power. But
like,
you're right.
there is something to that. Like, fans don't realize like it's really more about the media and the fans through the media, but like they really do have an element of power. It's just like, just make a change for change's sake, even if you don't think that's the main problem.
Well, yeah, and the angry mob mentality, it just continues to grow and grow as things get worse and worse. And I think about sports talk radio because that's where I started. And Philadelphia sports talk radio, it's probably an incredible listen right now. But there's so many. I just heard Quab say WIP, sports radio WIP. Yeah, that's right, everybody. You should listen. But there's so many different fingers to point in so many different directions, like the defensive issues, the late game collapses, obviously Saquon not being anywhere near as effective as he was last year, the offensive line injuries. I mean,
Do you think their Super Bowl chances are dead?
I don't want to say that they're dead, but I'm very worried. I'm very concerned for them because the momentum is on the Cowboys side right now. And they have all the vibes. And even when the Eagles were winning and seemingly doing okay, there was this sort of cloud, this pall, as we're doing the death show, this pall over the team with just manufacturing drama and stories and things like that. And it's almost like it came to fruition. Like it was.
Could they collapse a la 2023 when, they just limped into the playoffs and got taken out, but they were kind of a dead team walking?
I just don't understand how they have not figured out any type of identity on either side of the ball. And that to me just is the kiss of death.
I think they had it defensively, and they're going to be okay on defense. But yeah, there was almost a little too much blame after that game on a day where they gave up 281 yards on the ground.
Right.
My son Walker pointed out this stat, and he said I had to credit him if I used it.
Okay.
I'm going to. Well, the Eagles won 4 in a row, then lost 2 in a row, and the sky was falling to start the year. And then they won 4 in a row again, and everyone was kind of, still not that happy, weirdly. And then they lost 2 in a row. So by that logic, they're about to go on a little
4-game winning streak.
Yeah.
Okay.
By that streak.
Thanks, Walker.
I think it could happen. He's gonna come with me to watch them play. Actually, Monday Night Football. We're gonna go watch Chargers Eagles.
I might be over there too.
That should be great.
Fun.
Okay, I'm gonna throw to some sound of Jaxson Dart after the game on Monday night against the Patriots. This is him, being asked about some of the big hits that he took.
Look, I understand the question, but this is
Jaxson.
This is football. I'm gonna get hit if I'm in the pocket or outside the pocket. I feel like I've played this way my whole entire life. This shouldn't be any shocker to anybody if you've followed along with my career. And we're not playing soccer out here. You're gonna get hit, things happen. It's part of the game.
You know what that was? That was the moment where he started to get a little sick of being the New York quarterback. It had all been great until then.
He's like, this is me. This is who I am. You can take it or leave it. That's not how it works in the NFL with playing NFL defenses. Some of the hits that he took last night, he could have just ran out of bounds a yard or 2 sooner and would have been fine. I mean, then I think it was the second down play where it would have been 3rd and some change, but he wouldn't have gotten walloped like he did right there. If you're watching us right now, you can see the video. But also that to me comes off it's a little immature, clearly, because he's so young. I like that he is that fiery, and I like that he really wants to go out and just sacrifice himself, but that's also the most selfish thing that he could possibly do, considering he's looked at as their franchise quarterback, and everyone is relying on him to be healthy and available.
And when he gets hit, he gets hit. It's like a crash test dummy.
Right. And we saw what happened to Cam Scattaboo and him this year. I mean, he just came back from 2 games missing a concussion. So, wait, missing 2 games with a concussion. Do I have a concussion? Who knows?
No, you were right. And one of the first things he did, and he's right, it was in the pocket, was just kind of stand there at one point and kind of just amble up to the line of scrimmage. It wasn't when he was scrambling, and you just have to have that inner head, thing in your head. And like what died for me here, to keep it with the theme, was just that that total youthful exuberance of the Jaxson Dart experience to me. Like that
He's trying to hold on to
They
it.
said he's still talking to Brian Dable all the time, which I found fascinating. And
oh, that's so sweet.
cute. And, they were really tight. Then I'm watching Joe Shane, the GM's press conference on Tuesday, which he showed up for. Well, they delayed it a half hour, and then he showed up like 5 or 10 minutes late for it anyways. I was like, you guys benched Abdul Carter for a quarter for basically doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And Shane was like, yeah, he could have gone out of bounds. And so just the whole, he's seen his coach get fired. It's just been a long way from that moment where it was Scattaboo and Dart nuzzling.
But that's like
that was the death of his innocence, I guess.
That's sort of their brand, those two. Like they're kind of like the Bash Bros. They they play that style. That is their energy. That is sort of the vibes that they put out there too. But they just have to do it in a much smarter way. They can still do it. And also, I'm just wondering, who is in his ear? Isn't anyone telling him at this point in the season, we're 13 weeks in, that he needs to play smarter than that and not take those hits?
It's all they talked about for 3 weeks, and then
Right.
and then that's what happened. But
Also, it's not dead.
What?
The power turtleneck that
Yes.
Jaxson Dart wore into the game and there at his press conference, into the game with a brown leather, Top Gun jacket.
it's coming. Turtlenecks are coming back. Were they ever
are.
totally gone? Or?
No, not for me. I love a turtleneck.
I mean, it is bizarre to think back on what I was wearing as a middle school, high school kid. I mean, it's cold in Western Massachusetts, so
Yeah.
you need to layer. But there were a lot of turtlenecks going on.
Should have kept him.
There was a moment where sweater vests were popular.
Stop. I can't.
That's dead.
So that kind of
That's dead.
reminded me what Rabel
dead.
in the red Patriots vest
Yeah.
last night. That was giving sweater
Yeah.
vest.
It was a moment.
was.
Give me something else that you
Okay. So,
put on its deathbed or not.
well, I was thinking about, what I think is going to be buried this off season.
Mhm.
So the season's going to continue, whatever. But what is it? About March, April, we will be holding a funeral for the Tush Push, I think.
Wow.
Yeah. I know this is a depressing show.
I love it. Let's lean into it.
I just think that we've seen so many plays this year, tush pushes, that have been so difficult to officiate. And we've seen so many plays with officiating being going the wrong way in general, that this feels like a spot that might just take the bullet for all of it. To get rid of the tush push then would alleviate some of the calls for instant replay and all of that.
I am not a shill for the NFL, but with everyone complaining about officials all the time, I at some point sort of just check out of it, because it's just, to me, relatively boring to talk about. And
well, you don't have a call with Walt Anderson every week,
No,
Greg,
that's
and maybe
true.
you should jump on with us because it's very fun.
I think that talking about different rules and understanding them is important, especially for broadcasters. And some are terrible at it, and some, like Mike Tirico and yourself, are great at it. But I'm always surprised anyone ever gets a call correct. It's impossible.
Well, how about-
why do we have such a high standard of that they're going to get everything correct? The players get everything, like a million things wrong on every play, and they're the best in the absolute world. And the refs aren't great, but it's when you're on a field, you've been on the field.
It's
how
so
could they
fast.
possibly get anything right?
The game speed is so fast.
The thing that annoys me is, when things should be reviewable are not reviewed, like the leg whip in the Texans, Colts game, I believe it was, or was that a different game where there was a trip that clearly happened on a play, and it
was his thigh.
They reviewed,
that hit.
they reviewed the play, but they couldn't review like they can't give the penalty after reviewing the play, and it ends up hurting the wrong team. That's annoying.
I found it fascinating on Sunday night when Tirico and Collinsworth were talking about what constitutes a pile in football and how many people does it take to have a pile, because you can't pull someone off the pile, but it was just like 2 dudes or 1 dude. I don't know. But that was something that I was going to bring up to Walt Anderson this week.
Good idea.
Yeah.
I'm going to go the other way on this tush push idea.
Okay.
Well, first of all, if it does die, did the first like real sign of death happen in that Black Friday game?
It did.
Because the Bears just had a good way to stop it.
Yeah.
And like,
and what did they like turn?
If
like,
you can stop it, you basically
they had Jalen like turn, or they turned him.
They sort of sent. I can't explain enough. I would need to watch it from the side, but we talked about it on our Thanksgiving
They didn't have the
Black Friday
sacrificial
recap.
guy
That
like Brian Flores
Kelvin
did.
Shepard from the Lions, I think, came up with this plan against the Eagles, and now it's being copied. And you have this guy darting in from the side. There's more to the plan than that. And it's working to stop it. And then you see the tight ends. It's not working with the tight ends doing the tush. It's like, this is why I never thought you should kill the tush push, because the Eagles are good at it. Eventually, someone's going to figure out how to stop it. No one else is really that good at it anyways. It's not working for the Bills like as well as it did previously either.
As with everything else, it's going to die naturally.
That's it. I mean, that's sort of the history of the NFL.
It is.
Let's talk about the Steelers.
Okay.
First of all, we have some news. On
We love
Tuesday,
news.
we taped. On Tuesday, we found out that they have cut Darius Slay. Adam Thielen, on the other hand, he's going to be busy. He was cut by the Vikings. He requested his release because he was not really playing much with the Vikings. He was hoping, can I sign on to a team that potentially matters? And he got a gig with the Steelers. And so that's our news of the day. They're actually going to activate Asante Samuel Jr. as well. They had signed him. He's a good player. He had a neck injury that prevented him from playing for most of this year, so he's basically replacing Darius Slay. And when you're making moves like this, going into the biggest game of the year against the Ravens, it makes me feel even more confident to say the Steelers' Super Bowl chances are dead. Now, I'm not saying that Mike Tomlin's career with the Steelers is on life support. I don't think it necessarily is. Let's actually listen to Colleen Wolfe at a previous time.
Oh, no.
On the Monday night show with Ian Rappaport.
This is obviously a topic that is trending, but how valid of a topic is whether or not Mike Tomlin and the Steelers should move on from each other.
Heavy sigh from Ian. If you're not watching, he's
I know what
drink
you're
some
trying to
water.
do, Colleen, and I'm not going to let you do it. I'm just not.
Mooch then, when after I said goodbye to Ian and opened up the chat to Mooch and asked him if it was time for the Steelers to move on,
Yeah.
he did the same exact thing to me that Ian did.
I mean, as if Ian didn't know you were going to ask that. Didn't he know? Come on.
We have fun, don't we? Let's
It's-
just see what happens.
It's theater. Ridiculous. It would be a very Steelers thing to go win this game in Baltimore just at the moment where the Vultures are circling in a way that I've never seen in Pittsburgh for Mike Tomlin. But what Ian said later in that clip, it was a good clip. People should check it out. And he basically said they would never, ever, they're not, like, there's no way Art Rooney is firing Mike Tomlin. Like, there's 0.0% chance. Now, if Mike Tomlin ever decided he just wanted to step away, it's just weird that Ian, to me, would say that, but there's no indications that would happen. That maybe Tomlin would just be like, I'm kind of done here. Maybe do the Sean Payton thing where he's just like, I'm retiring, or I'm
Right.
out of here, and then like return a year later or something like
Okay,
that.
2 things on that. One is related to Sean Payton, but this one, before I forget it, the Steelers, Mike Tomlin is their 3rd coach in history since 1969.
Sure.
This is such a steady, patient organization that prides themselves on that very thing and staying with the guys and their guys. It's like family. So, I mean, I just don't see them doing it unless it's some type of mutually parting of ways, which we hear a lot, but I feel like in this case could actually happen, which makes me think maybe it's a situation like Sean Payton where there's a trade. And what if the trade is Mike Tomlin to the Giants?
Whoa.
Because of the Rooneys and the Maras.
A lot of NFL history has gone down
right?
with cooperation and work by the Rooneys and the Maras.
Yeah. And
not Rooney Mara, but she is
but I do
very
love her.
much related.
Exactly. She is.
Literally.
Yeah. So I just I just could see maybe a scenario like that. I just don't see them parting ways with him and nothing else happening. Like, I think that it could be mutually beneficial for both sides, maybe, to have a fresh start, because we're hearing reports about players not showing up to meetings or coming in late. And this is a team that is in playoff positioning right now. This is important. You would think that you wouldn't have to convince guys to show up. Like, who is not listening to people in the room there?
Well, that's Aaron Rodgers' comments you're talking about. Well, it's that time of year, for him to just start blaming everyone around him. It's like,
I feel like we're all in a relationship with Aaron Rodgers.
DK Metcalf is probably feeling that too. I mean, who is important enough even to be not showing up to these meetings that he's talking about and not on the same page? I mean, maybe it's Jonnu Smith, or maybe it is someone else. Who knows? Because I only say Jonnu Smith because he was the one that was running the route where Aaron Rodgers just threw the ball where he wanted Jonnu Smith to be, even though no one was clearly there.
Rodgers
Almost
was so pissed.
Was
about
punishing
that.
him. Okay, I want to point out a couple things here with Rodgers. Rodgers' career, to me, as an effective starter, has been dead. And I keep seeing this idea, and I saw it from my old boss, Florio, just Tuesday, of like, well, he's still, his stats are still pretty solid, and people are, and a website that covers the Steelers actually aggregated me a week ago where I said Aaron Rodgers is one of the worst starters in the league. And the article was about how this is preposterous. How could anyone possibly say that Aaron Rodgers is one of the worst starters in the league when you look at, okay, his touchdown interception ratio and his completion percentage and whatever, his QB rate. It's like, okay, let's dig a little deeper. First of all, use your eyes. Like, watch how limited he is. Second of all, if you go to EPA per play or you go to success rate, he is anywhere from the bottom 5, where it's like he's only ahead. I looked at this in success rate on the season. I think ahead of Dylan Gabriel, Cam Ward, and Joe Flacco, surprisingly, was down there. But Joe Flacco at least gives you big plays. Aaron Rodgers is low on these lists because he knows how to make his stats look good by throwing for 7 yards on 3rd and 11. And like, there's no incompletion, but he's not effective.
I just don't get the flash plays from him, the fun plays. So when you watch, you can almost feel the stagnation of the offense and Aaron Rodgers' frustration. It completely bleeds through the play of the offense. So I feel like as just a watch, it is tough in general.
It is tough. And the defense hasn't helped. They are the most expensive defense in the league, and they have not lived up to that. And yet they could be in first place after Sunday. It would be very Mike Tomlin to win this game. A little perspective, though. Mike Sando of The Athletic had this stat of the longest coaching tenures in NFL history after winning their last Super Bowl in the same place without basically getting fired or retired.
Current coaches? Are there current?
All time.
Oh, okay.
Mike Tomlin is already 4 years clear of anyone else all time except for Don Shula. But I think Mike Tomlin's great. He's no Don Shula. Don Shula has the most wins of all time. Don Shula has one of the highest winning percentages of all time. He has multiple Super Bowls. They had a history of success. He was the Miami Dolphins in a way that it's not Mike Tomlin.
It should be the Don Shula Award, by the way, for Coach of the Year.
Sure. The second longest coach, by the way, without getting fired, tied for second, Chuck Noll, who was the last one before Bill Cowher. He 12 years, and they kind of forced him to retire at 12. Tomlin's at 16 years after his Super Bowl, and tied with him is John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh, yep.
12 years. So might be a lot of careers ending.
And I always think back to
for 10 years, I should say, because they would both get jobs quickly.
Yeah, but before the Ravens drafted Lamar, John Harbaugh was on the hot seat, and that was the big topic. And that year, if he wasn't successful that year, he would have been fired. And then everything turned things around for John Harbaugh with Lamar.
And to his credit, no one from the day they drafted Lamar to the second he was bringing him in as a backup to they were losing some games at first. Like John Harbaugh just said from day one, like Lamar Jackson's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Like since day one, he was right to hit his wagon to that star. So yeah, I'm killing the Steelers Super Bowl chances. We're running out of time here. We are going to do a TNF preview, so we're going to take a break. Do you want to do any like rapid fire? Or not?
One thing I would really love to do.
To hear about. Okay, let's actually listen to Andy Reid. And we'll explain what context it is. This is from his press conference on Monday about how the Chiefs are going to attack the rest of the season.
You know that you pretty much have to win the next 5 games. If you lose one, you're going to need a lot of help to get into playoffs. What's your level of confidence that things can start going your way and that you can win these next 5 games in a row?
Yeah, well, I believe that. I mean, I believe if you're coming to me on this, Matt, I'm telling you, we're going to go after you every game. And, that's how we roll. We're going to try to tickle your tonsils on every play, every game. And, but that's the attitude that we're coming in with.
Never have I ever heard that turn of phrase before.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Is this new to you too?
I've never heard tickle your tonsils before, no.
It feels like it's potentially not something we should be saying on the show, but...
No, that feels like a phrase that should be dying. It also doesn't seem like it really is in context of what we're talking about.
I'm trying to figure out like why that was his go-to. And why, like when I don't know, it's just weird because I'm picturing the field and I'm like, is this like a defensive thing? Like, I don't know.
So
they're going to get down to the goal line.
we're listening to that in part because, the Chiefs would need some help if they lose one more game to make the playoffs. It might take 11-6 to make the playoffs, and they already have 6 losses. But I just think like parity this year in the AFC is unlike anything I've seen before. And if you put the Chiefs on the field with whoever else you want to pick in the AFC right now, you can't tell me that game's not a toss-up. I think if you pick the first 7 or 8 teams in the AFC and put them on the field at the same time, you can't tell me that it's not a toss-up. So whatever 7 teams make it, you shake them all up. I feel like it could go any way. I really don't think there's any favorites, which by logic means the Chiefs got a shot here.
I had a premonition last night that the AFC Championship game will be between the Patriots and Broncos.
That would be great. Weirdly,
I think that's going to happen.
That would actually go to the seeding. So, Florio, coming up a lot in this show.
Wow.
Had to know, I always want to give credit because this was from NBC Sports Research, that the most teams have been eliminated at this point in the season since divisional realignment happened. So what I was going to say is parity dead here in the NFL. Quietly this year, it's actually been, even though the AFC seems wide open at the top, the teams at the bottom are truly awful in a way that normally doesn't happen. The Giants were eliminated first. And then the Titans, Raiders, Saints, and Cardinals are all already like mathematically eliminated with 5 weeks to go, which is kind of hard to do. And the Jets, the Browns, like the Commanders, they could be soon after that. So even though it feels like it is anyone's title in the AFC, it actually is going to be harder to get into the playoffs. So this is not what the decision makers wanted when they wanted parity. You're going to have like a great record to make the playoffs, and there's just a lot of more dead teams than almost ever before.
I guess just because there's such different teams at the top, and a lot of the teams that we expected to be at the top are not even in the playoff picture right now. And the fact that the AFC South is super fascinating. This is not how the season started at all. So that's exciting.
It is exciting. It's just the bottom is really at the bottom this year. That you're just like
it's a real fall off.
You have no chance. Even some teams that aren't that bad, like the 3-9 Cardinals. All right, we did it. we're not killing that segment. I don't even know what that segment was.
We don't really either. It's a work in progress, and we'll have to revisit it.
Let's take a quick break. We're going to come back on the other side, and we're going to preview. Is this the biggest TNF game of the season?
It is.
I think it is.
Yeah.
Back on NFL Daily.
I feel like I need a drum.
Some of these TNFs, me and Shook are recapping it after the game.
Ooh.
And I'm looking at the schedule. I'm just wanting a game like this. So juicy. Lions
So good.
hosting the Cowboys. Lions favored by 3. Narratively, I just think it's coming at such a fascinating point in the season because the Lions were that cool upstart team.
Mm-hmm.
And I always think back to that playoff game, the NFC Championship against the 49ers, where in the locker room afterwards, Dan Campbell got real and he said, hey, there's no guarantee we're ever going to get back here. But that was like the first year the Lions were really good.
Yeah.
And everyone thought, okay. And then last year, all the injuries struck and they were like a little further away. And now they seem even further away.
Wow.
Not only do they have injuries, but they need to win this game against the Cowboys or they are in deep trouble, likely to miss the playoffs if they don't win this game. And they're playing a team in Dallas, which I hate to say it, Colleen, is kind of like those Lions from a few years
You're
ago.
right.
They're fun. They're upstarts. It's new. They're entertaining.
How are they so likable? All right? That's what I want to know. It's like the Eagles are falling apart and the Cowboys have the inverse energy happening for them. It's they're fun. They have fun personalities. They're fun to watch. They're good. They have all of the vibes and momentum right now. And the Lions coming off a massive upset at home against the Packers in the division. That was a huge game for them. They absolutely needed it. And the fact that the Eagles are slipping right now makes me feel like this is a more important win for the Lions just because of this window that could potentially be closing with them, because it does seem like they're slipping and they're not as dominant as they obviously started the season or had been in the past. It's not a foregone conclusion that they're going to make the playoffs. And we knew that there was going to be a little bit of regression with both coordinators leaving, and we weren't sure how that was going to hit. And we've seen some issues with their run defense, and maybe that bodes well for Javonte Williams in this game. But the stakes could not be any higher in this one.
They couldn't. And I think multiple things can be true, to use a Jordanism. I picked the Lions to make the Super Bowl this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's not happening. If they were in the AFC and they had the same percentage chance to make the playoffs as they do in the NFC, had some work to do, sure, they'd have a chance. It's not happening in the NFC. The Rams, the Seahawks, and the Packers are all really freaking good.
Yep.
And it's just not going to happen. This is not going to be their year. But here's the multiple thing. That's also true. Their window to me is not closing at all. I do believe in the organizational culture and their talent. They have a lot of players in their prime sign long-term. They can improve in the offseason and come back at it next year.
More momentum and not window.
Yeah. So I'm really responding to Lions fans on socials who just feel like, well, it passed us. That was our chance. We were close, and now it's not coming back. And I don't see that at all. I think they are in a multiple-year window, but I do think this year is essentially over if they don't win this game, because they are in LA playing the Rams next week. They could all but be eliminated by the end of week 15. And so it's a great test of what Dan Campbell has built, because I thought they were up for the fight against Green Bay. Watching that game, they had injuries. I just realized they're not as talented. They're not as good as Green Bay. And Goff was still battling. It's about the defense to me and the lack of size in their secondary. Terrion Arnold went on injured reserve this week, and that was a surprise to me. I did not know his injury was going to be nearly that serious. And so you have DJ Reed out there, and you have Amik Robertson and Rock Ya-Sin and these cornerbacks who are all – they're like the Colleen and Gregg of NFL cornerbacks.
What does this mean?
We don't take up much of the frame, as Eric said before.
We are petite.
He was giving us scouting reports on how different people move and where they need to sit on their mark. And he said we were easy because we're just so small.
We have a lot of space to work with. Well, to your point with the Lions.
Patrick, meanwhile, is like all over the place, moving around.
He is.
He's like
Patrick?
6 foot whatever. Yeah, he just moves around.
He's moving around. He's a wiggler.
Oh,
yeah,
he's a wiggler.
and he's bigger to begin
Nick
with.
Shook,
So
very stoic. He's like
Right.
he's a statue. You guys
Yeah.
are small. There's a lot of room
Yeah.
to work. You guys could be up and down and left and
Yeah,
right,
it's
and you
great.
would not be out of
Look at
frame
that.
for 1 second.
But it really, I think, showed up in that Chiefs game, too. Like, the Chiefs cornerbacks, okay, yeah, maybe you can double CeeDee Lamb, but then you got George Pickens to worry about.
You do. And just looking at the injury front for the Lions, this is a big deal with Sam Laporta still dealing
He gone.
with injuries, ankle injury for Amon-Ra St. Brown. These are two massive pieces of this offense, and this Cowboys defense is revitalized with what they did before the trade deadline. And now it just seems like the pieces are working so much better together. It's not like you're not going to have the same Micah Parsons effect without Micah Parsons there, but this is obviously a much better moving system altogether now.
They're especially good stopping the run. That's what Jerry Jones said he wanted, and Kenny Clark, and all the and Quentin Williams should get a lot of credit because he's having the best month of his career. But if you think about the players that they've gotten back or signed during this season, it's not just Quentin Williams. Jadeveon Clowney, who might not play in this game, but has made some plays for them. Donovan Wilson and Malik Hooker, their safety tandem, both missed a lot of time this year, especially Hooker. Suddenly they're back in the mix. DeMarvion Overshown, who is maybe the leader of that entire defense, back in the mix. Logan Wilson, they traded for from the Bengals. He's playing. Siobhan Revell is a third-round cornerback who's playing. That was 7 guys I just listed. That's an entire defense. Yeah, they look different because it's a totally different group of players, and they're going to have a tough matchup. I think the Lions can score a lot. The bigger question to me is the Lions defense up for the fight, because they have not played that well the last couple weeks. They were getting a lot of love, and the last couple weeks they've looked a little overmatched against elite offenses, and that's what the Cowboys
have. And I'm just looking at the Cowboys schedule after the Lions. They have the Vikings, which they could win.
Win.
Chargers.
Toss up.
Commanders.
Win.
Giants. Win.
You never know because it's the Cowboys, and they always
Did they
get
beat
your hope up.
They already won their first matchup, so I don't know if they'll sweep. But
I think
Chargers Vikings.
I think the loser of this game is in deep trouble, but I actually think it's equally big for both teams.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more likely if one of these teams was going to lose a game and actually make the playoffs, that it would be the Cowboys. Because if the Cowboys lose this game and get a 6th loss, they have that tie. It's in between, and then they would have to run the table after that. But I think they have a chance to run the table against that schedule. If the Lions lose this game, I just think because of the injuries and everything that's happened, and then they have the Rams next week. That would be very difficult. So either way, I think each of these teams can probably afford one more loss, and it's just coming at the perfect time. And something we were talking about in the newsroom.
What?
I don't think it's too late to have Dak Prescott go on a little MVP conversation type of run. People don't realize there's so much left of the season. There's more than 25% left of the season. If Dak Prescott balls out and they win out, he's played awesome this year. He's got a shot, depending on what happens with Stafford and May and whoever else is in the mix. He's got a shot.
I tend to look at how many primetime games the candidates have at the end of the year.
It's important.
And we know that this is the last one for Dak Prescott, I think.
No, he's got the Vikings the next week as well somehow, and then he's also got a Christmas Day game, which isn't.
Oh my gosh!
Basically,
that's right. I'm looking at the Lions schedule still. But what about Matthew Stafford and the Rams?
They're going to be in the mix too. They will absolutely have a chance. I think Stafford and May at this point are the favorites. My point is more that a lot of craziness is coming up.
That's right. Brace yourselves.
Did we do it?
We did something.
You know how you feel alive is you have a show and you're not really sure what you're going to talk about or what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then you make it happen.
Yeah. And all of you were, all of you were along for the ride.
And honestly, we didn't get that dark and we didn't get that existential.
Yeah,
I'm almost disappointed.
Maybe we need to do another one right now.
We'll just talk.
Start over.
We'll just talk afterwards about the
our biggest regrets in life.
Yeah, that when my parents left on their plane this week back, I was like, is that the last time?
Oh my God, Gregg!
Not because they're
going
to
to
die. I'm not saying that. Not because anything is going to happen. Because they're in their 80s, it's asking a lot for them to take a long cab to the airport and then fly 7 hours by themselves. At some point, seasons, there's a cycle for everything. And it just might mean more trips for my family going to Massachusetts.
Yeah, get
That's all I'm
yourself
saying.
on that plane.
It's okay to think about all this stuff.
Don't make me cry.
Be the change that you want.
Oh, by the way, if you guys would like to send Christmas cards to us,
yes,
I would love to accept them, and we will read some fun ones on the air. So get those in, because for some reason it takes a really long time to finally get to me once it goes through the mailroom. So send me your family Christmas cards. I kept all the ones from last year. They're downstairs.
Yeah. For listeners that don't know, we had a lot of listeners send in Christmas cards to Colleen because she was not getting enough Christmas cards.
Yeah.
So if you want to possibly be part of our Christmas episode this year, send them to 900 District Drive in Inglewood, California, 90303, care of Colleen Wolfe.
Yes.
You can say NFL Network, care of Colleen Wolfe. Again, to 900 District Drive, Inglewood, California, 90303.
Listen,
we want your family Christmas
listener, I was crying last year at some of the cards downstairs in the little locker room, just reading your cards. They were so sweet and so fun, and some of them were super funny. So please send them.
It's all in front of us. You know what else is in front of us? Our preview show. Patrick Claybon will be with me. Could have some special guests. We'll see who else is there this week. It's all happening. I'm getting my Christmas tree tonight.
Yes.
I am.
What about pictures with Santa?
A bad Jew. Let's take a little break.
What a note.
We'll see you.